In this video, I'm going to talk about the daily pattern that actually nobody knows about. And once you truly understand it, is when you're going to see markets completely differently. So let's just get into it. But just before I get started with the strategy, I just want to show you my results for the past 6 months. So you can see here, this is my last month. This is June of 2026. And here you can see all the green days and of course, all the red days. And basically you can see right here, it's connected to trade weight and you can see win rate is just above 80%. So now that you actually know that I'm trading something that I'm teaching you, let's actually get into the video. So first, let's start with what the goal of today's video is gonna be. So the first one is going to be for you to understand how daily pattern is traded. So you need to fully understand what the model is about and what the steps are so you can actually apply it onto the charts. The second one is going to be to have a clear set of rules to trade, because we actually want to just react based on rules, not to actually think about whether we should enter or whether we should not. So we want to have a clear set of rules so we know what to do. Then the third one is going to be able to actually pass the funded accounts and to actually make money. So let's get right into the steps. So step number one for this model is going to be to go to the daily time frame. So basically each candlestick is going to represent a 1 day in the market. You are going to mark out the candle high and the candle low. So what that is basically a candle's wick to the upside and a candle's wick to the downside. And that is basically all you need to do for the first step. So all you need to do is mark out this kind of range or this kind of box on the daily time frame and basically off to the step 2. And all that step 2 is you go to the 1 hour time frame. So you basically scale down from the daily time frame when we have this range in the market, basically a high and low of the range. We scale down to the 1 hour time frame and we wait for the one side to actually get swept. So it's gonna look something like this. And now when we actually have the sweep of either the downside or either the upside, so in this case we actually swept to the upside, that is basically our step number 2. So now what we know is we know the direction that we are going to trade, because basically if the market actually goes to the upside and sweeps the upside, that means that market manipulated this highs range. And basically what is that going to mean to us? That is going to mean to us that now market is going to want to go down and manipulate the bottom of the range. And of course in the other case example, when we basically sweep the low of this range, that is going to mean that we actually manipulated the low of this range, and then we are going to look for targeting the upside. And of course we are not going to do it blindly. We have all the rules to actually enter and execute a position. So right now what we need to do when we got that sweep, this is going to be within the step number 2 since we actually got the sweep. Now all that we need to understand is we need to understand and spot where the last fair value gap in the market was. And basically what a fair value gap is, it is just a hole in the market or an imbalance. You can see right here how we have 3 candles right here, and you can see how the first one and the third one are actually not overlapping with the wicks, because the middle one actually displays to the upside. So our fair value gap is going to look something like this, and basically this is an imbalance in the market, and all we need to do is just mark it out. After we have our fair value gap or an imbalance in the market, all we are going to wait is for the market to actually disrespect it or to close below it. And basically I call it an inversion of the fair value gap. And why is that? Because right now market went to the upside, we manipulated this high, we left a fair value gap or an imbalance in the market. And basically with fair value gaps or imbalances, what market likes to do, market likes to retest them and then of course continue going that direction, because market does not like imbalances. But we are going to use it very smartly to our advantage. We are not going to wait for a retest. We are going to wait for it to get disrespected. So that is going to tell us that market does not want to continue going to the downside, but it actually wants to of course go towards the downside and actually manipulate the low. So what we are going to do is when we get this disrespect, so how we are going to know that it's disrespected, we want to wait for a closure of the 1 hour candle. So it actually needs to close with the body below, and the body is this gray part of the candlestick. And when we get that closure, all we do is we basically enter the market. And what we do is we either target 1-to-1, which is going to be really high win rate, or we can just simply target the opposite side of the daily range and of course all we need to do is we just need to wait for the trade to play out and basically get the results. And that's basically the whole model. Right now we can just go straight into the live market so I can show you how it's working in the live markets. Okay, so here we are in the actual live market. So right now all we need to do is just start with the simple steps. So the first step that we knew is that we need to start with a daily time frame, because we need to mark out the daily range, basically the daily low and the daily high. And also I want to say that you can do this model and this strategy on any instrument you want. So whether it's indices, crypto, forex, whatever, you can do it on everything. So basically pick your pair or your instrument and just trade it. So right now when we are on the daily time frame, all we do is we look at the most recent candlestick, and what we do is we mark out the candle's high, which is basically going to be this high right here, and then we mark out the candle's low. And this is it. Right now we have the range, and all we need to do is scale down to the 1 hour time frame. So the daily one is going to be to mark out the range, and then the 1 hour is going to be to basically look for the entry and the sweep of one side. So right now when we are on the 1 hour time frame, this is basically the range that the daily candle gave us. So all we need to do right now is wait for either the sweep of the upside like this, or we need to wait for the sweep of the downside. So if I fast forward the market right here, let's see which side actually got swept. So right here you can see that we manipulated to the downside. So this was our range, we went down, and you can see we swept the downside of the range. So right now what we need to do is we need to mark out the latest fair value gap in the market. So last fair value gap in the market that happened is this one right here. So we want to mark out the fair value gap that happened while we were going towards that sweep. So basically this is the last one that happened in the market. So right now we marked it out, and all we want to see is a disrespect of this fair value gap. So we want to see a candle close above this fair value gap like this, which is basically gonna give us an entry. So if I fast forward the market, let's see what will actually happen in the market. So there it is, you can see the body. So basically if I zoom in, you can see that the blue part of the candle, which is the body in this example, did actually close above this fair value gap. So if we enter the market like this, we can put our stop loss below the body or below the candle, it does not really matter. It's all completely up to you. Basically both of them works. So let's say for example we put it under the body. So if I target to the upside like this, you can see this risk reward is of course absolutely insane, and this is not going to happen every day in the market. So basically if you want to feel safer, you can bring down the stop loss to just kind of give it a little bit more breathing room. So if I fast forward the market, let's see what will actually happen with this position, and you can see right here it played out beautifully. So basically 7 risk reward. Of course, as I told you, this is huge risk reward. So now what we are going to do is we are just going to scale out to the daily time frame and mark out new range. So basically right there you can see this was our last range of the last day. So I'm going to remove those lines, and right now we got our new day right here. So what we are going to do is, of course, step number 1 is we are going to mark out the high and we are going to mark out the low. And also before I scale down to the 1 hour time frame, if you are maybe interested to get to work one-on-one with me, I just want to say that there is a link down there so you can basically apply and you may get to fall into the one-on-one mentorship program. So right now when I got that out of the way, let's actually go to the step number 2, which is of course from the daily time frame marking out the high and marking out the low. We are going to go down to the 1 hour time frame and we are going to wait for the sweep. So basically don't let this trade confuse you. This is the past trade from the yesterday's basically price action, and right now we are going to mark out the new range. So this right now is our new daily range. So all we are waiting for is either a sweep to the upside or a sweep towards the downside. So let's see what the market is actually going to give us. So it looks like market is going towards the upside, but we still can't be sure, and there it actually is. So right now all we need to do is we need to mark out the latest fair value gap. So basically the last fair value gap in the market while we were going to the upside was this one right here, but this one actually already got disrespected, so it does not exist for us, and we didn't sweep at that point, so that was not our entry. So that's how important it is to actually get the sweep. So if you entered this position without an actual manipulation, you would have just lost this position. So the last fair value gap that we actually have in the market is going to be this one right here. So right now all we need to do is we need to fast forward the market, and right now you can see that we had a huge dump to the downside, but what happened is we did not actually close below. You can see it's still missing a bit to actually disrespect this fair value gap. So we are still gonna wait and see if we are actually gonna get it. And right now looks like we did actually close below, but right now there is a catch in the market, and the catch is that we actually entered a new fair value gap. So this is something that you have to watch out for, because sometimes market can disrespect and inverse a fair value gap, but it will not inverse another one that we already tapped into, and that can easily lead to basically you losing positions and you're just losing money. So if we tap into a fair value gap like this one, we actually need to inverse it too in order to enter the position. And you can see right here, even if we took this entry to the downside, it would have also lost. So basically we avoided 2 losses right here. So all we are waiting for right now is for us to actually inverse this fair value gap that we tapped into. So if I fast forward the market, looks like we inversed it right here. So all we do is we enter the position. We can put our stop loss above this fair value gap since this candle is just so huge, and what we can do is we can target towards the downside. Now this is about 1.7 risk to reward, so not the biggest, but still it's very profitable if we are gonna have a high win rate. So if I fast forward the market, let's see what is gonna happen. So in this example you can see right there a second win. So right now when we have even this position to play out, we are going to scale back to the daily time frame. So basically, of course, this candle I moved it back, so basically we have a clean view of what the daily window was. So I'm gonna remove this daily range right here, and we are going to mark out the bottom of this candle. So you can see it right here. This is our bottom of the range, and then we have this high of the range right here. So this is a step number 1. So right now we are going back to the 1 hour time frame. So I'm going to remove all of this that is basically maybe confusing you, and you can see this trade we already know is going to play out to the take profit. So we already know that the market is going to go down since we actually saw it play out till the end. But of course you can enter 2 positions simultaneously. So also one more thing that I want to say to you is that if you like this video and if you truly find it helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because that just makes me feel that I'm actually doing something good for the community. So right now we have our new range right here, so a new daily range, and we are on a 1 hour time frame. So right now let's see what the market is going to do. So you can see market went to the downside basically, and we know that this trade played out. So right now all we need to do is when we have the manipulation of the downside, like in this example right here, we want to mark out the latest fair value gap. So the steps are still completely the same. So right now this is the latest fair value gap in the market that we have, and all we are waiting for the market to do is to actually close above it and actually inverse it. So right now we are just still waiting to see what is market gonna do, and market decided to go even more to the downside, and you can see right here what happened is market gave us a new fair value gap. So basically we are gonna mark out the new fair value gap because it is the last one that we made, and we are gonna move this one out of the way because we always want to see the last one getting disrespected. We don't care about this one right here or maybe even this one, we care about the last one that happened in the market. So right now all we care about is the disrespect of this fair value gap right here. So let's see if we are actually gonna get that in the market. So right now we still didn't close above it, and there it actually is. So right now all we do in the market is we enter this position, we can put our stop loss below this fair value gap like this that we actually disrespected and inversed, and now we are targeting the top of the range. So this line right here was our bottom of the range that we actually swept right here, and now we are basically targeting this high towards the upside. So if I fast forward the market, you can see it one more time right there. We got the full take profit. So you can see right here all the positions that we actually took that all played out to the full take profit. So right now here on the chart we have more than 10 risk to reward that we made in just 3 days. So this strategy is just completely insane, and it's just working beautifully in the markets. Alright, I hope that you enjoyed the video, but just before you actually leave the video, make sure to check out the description for some free stuff and also some coupon codes for the propfirms if you want to get one. Also one more thing, if you liked the video and it truly helped you, make sure to leave a subscribe. That is just gonna make me know that I'm doing something good, and I'm just gonna keep doing it better and better. And also, as I already told you, if you are actually serious about this and you want to actually skip all the hard learning and hard working in trading alone by yourself, because it is in fact really hard to do it yourself, make sure to check out the description for the one-on-one mentorship and apply. and maybe if you are a right fit, you get to work with me one-on-one. And basically, with all of that being said, I really hope that you enjoyed the video, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Peace.